This is News 4 In Depth.
This is ridiculous. It's got to stop.
6 SAPD police officers shot in 4 separate incidents. The suspects all with criminal past.
This individual is another case of someone who should have been in jail.
We ask, is it too easy for violent criminals to get back on the streets?
This is going to continue to happen until and unless the law is changed.
In the search for answers and accountability, no one will take the blame.
I'm not going to get into an argument back and forth with the DA. And I'm not pointing fingers directly at the DA, but this has happened over and over and over.
I'm asking our community, I'm asking our elected officials, let's not point fingers and blame.
Is this becoming more about politics than public safety?
Absolutely.
News 4 here for you as we go in depth for solutions.
Welcome to News 4 San Antonio In Depth. I'm Jonathan Martinez. For the next half hour, we are here for you as we go in depth on the recent string of officer-involved shootings across San Antonio in which 6 officers were shot. We will take a deep dive to get answers, hold officials accountable, and examine the plans to end the violence. But let's go ahead and get you caught up on the recent string of officer-involved shootings over the last 3 weeks. The most recent shooting happened last Tuesday along Iroquois on the southwest side. There were several others before that, though, including one on August the 24th on the west side when 3 officers were wounded by gunfire. 6 days later, an officer was shot along I-10 on the east side. The suspect in that case was shot and killed. And later that night, an officer accidentally shooting himself during a shootout in the parking lot of a Home Depot at Loop 410 near 151. Now, thankfully, all of the officers are expected to make a full recovery. And the common factor, though, in all of these shootings, the suspects were all repeat offenders and released on bond, in some cases multiple times. Police Chief William McManus has been very vocal and voicing his frustrations.
There's a lot of folks that are getting out pre-trial. Yeah, low bond, no bond, even for violent crime. There are people walking the street who should be in jail. And I will say that again and again and again. Again, frustrating that folks like this are out on the street.
We have multiple cases of violent crimes that were dismissed. This individual is another case of someone who should have been in jail. This is a danger to public safety, having folks like this on the street. And this isn't a one-off. There's plenty of other cases out there like this.
Bexar County DA Joe Gonzalez says his office is taking steps to improve communication with the police department, speed up the prosecution of cases, and even hiring more attorneys. But during a recent town hall, he reiterated his process is dictated by the law.
Our prosecutors who work at the magistrate's office can recommend bonds. From time to time, judges see fit to reduce the bonds or set bonds at lower than what we recommend. But ultimately, the magistrate judges make that call. But as I say, with
do they need more latitude to be able to hold people without bond?
Well, I'll tell you what I think is the difference, and this is going to continue to happen until and unless the law is changed. Until we go to the legislature and change the bonding process and require that those decisions are made based on the risk of that individual to the community, not based on how much money he's got in the bank, we're going to continue to see this problem.
Now, the rash of officer-involved shootings has turned into a bit of a war of words between the police chief and the district attorney. DA Joe Gonzalez pointing the finger at the police chief for dissolving a unit whose purpose was to arrest repeat offenders. Shortly after the shooting that happened on the 5th, in a statement, DA Gonzalez saying SAPD had known about the suspect involved in last Tuesday's shooting, Dominic Rubio, since a warrant was first issued on August the 3rd. A second warrant was later issued on August the 31st. He then goes on to say Rubio was spotted entirely by chance last week by an SAPD officer who had a previous experience with him. Gonzalez says that McManus disbanded the repeat offender program in 2022 designed to catch repeat offenders. Gonzalez saying, quote, over 30 days passed since the original warrant seeking Dominic Rubio's arrest and detention had been issued. Nearly a week had gone by since SAPD issued a second warrant for Rubio. Rubio should have been in jail long before Tuesday's shooting, and it was the SAPD's job to search for him, serve the warrant, and get him there. The San Antonio Police Officers Association firing back against the DA's remark. They also sent a statement reading in part, quote, the recent statement from the DA represents yet another weak attempt to divert attention away from his long-standing history of inadequate due diligence. Joe is neither qualified nor authorized to speak on the internal operations of the SAPD. His statements regarding the operational capacity of SAPD are simply uninformed and incorrect, and he should focus on his inability to properly staff and manage the DA's office, end quote. Ultimately, the police union has strong thoughts on the matter, saying the district attorney isn't doing his job, but DA Joe Gonzalez refutes that, saying he has protocols to follow to prove these cases in court. It's an issue Chief McManus has been bringing up for years now, but as we search for accountability, all sides disagree on what the solution actually is.
Is this becoming more about politics than public safety?
Absolutely. It's about getting reelected. It's not about the safety for the citizens.
Just last week, the mayor and Bexar County judge releasing a joint statement saying they plan to bring together law enforcement, the judiciary, and stakeholders to talk about the recent officer-involved shootings. Now, while a date for that meeting has not been set, a couple of local districts hosted their very own public safety town halls this week. In fact, one is taking place as we speak right now in District 7. Here's a live picture at the Dolores Griffin Senior Center. That's off of 410 near Bandera Road. The police chief and DA will be there at the town hall, as again, it's just getting started and it'll run until 7:30. We'll have much more on exactly what was said coming up for you tonight at 10 o'clock. Meantime, District 4 also hosted a public safety town hall on the west side. It happened earlier this week. Now, despite their feud, both Chief McManus and DA Gonzalez attended to hear concerns from the community. News 4 San Antonio's Matt Roy has more for us tonight.
For the first time in a month, two of your top officials are speaking and working together for your safety and the safety of your law enforcement.
We've reached an agreement to continue to communicate, to improve our relations in order to improve public safety.
The next time that I speak about this will be in a venue where everybody who can deal with this problem is in that meeting, which will be called by the mayor and the county judge. But until then, you know, it does me no good. It does no one any good to continue to butt heads about this.
This comes after 6 officers were shot in less than 2 weeks in the line of duty. How can two city officials come to a solution without speaking to one another regularly, especially when it comes to officer-involved shooting?
Well, I mean, I think that was a problem. I think it was a stressful time for everybody, and I want to thank everybody that showed concern.
Now that they say the feud is over, they both say they're fully committed to finding solutions to the community's problems, which more than 100 people filled a West Side church Monday night to tell them about.
A lot of people who are victims of crime are angry about it. Can't blame them. So the frustration and the anger is typically not surprising in these types of venues.
Now, we'll, of course, be sure to keep you updated when that meeting with the mayor, county judge, police chief, and the DA will take place. One of the big ongoing debates right now, the bond process and how repeat offenders keep getting out after multiple arrests. We've learned that a change in the bond process starts with the state legislature. Governor Abbott named bail reform as one of his emergency items this session, but the session came and went without any action itself. Now, this session, lawmakers proposed a constitutional amendment allowing judges to deny bail under certain circumstances, but that didn't pass either, and only the governor can call a special session. Now, until bond reform is addressed at the state level, we did learn that there's a Texas law designed to inform judges about an offender's criminal history. The News 4i team's Jay Avila asked the DA about it during our recent town hall.
They passed a law where judges should be getting information on the histories of the defendants that they're seeing before they set bond. Is that happening? Are they seeing the history and what crimes are in their past?
Everyone endeavors to give the judges as much information. I know in our office we try and provide as much information as possible at the bond hearings, but certainly there are people there whose job it is to inform the judge of the criminal history of a suspect or a prisoner that's standing in front of that judge.
Now, speaking of, we did dig for answers to find out if judges were using the system and how exactly it worked. That 2021 law is supposed to make sure judges had all the background information they needed for setting bail. It creates a report outlining a suspect's criminal history that includes any previous convictions, pending charges, and any violent offenses that they've committed. Once someone is arrested, that information is put into the system, merging with past information. Then a judge uses it to decide the suspect's fate.
We are required to take into consideration that background information that's in that data system.
Judge Rosie Spiedland-Gonzalez telling us judges use that information each and every day for all types of cases, not just where the law requires it, and it can help when dealing with repeat offenders.
That's something they're very concerned about, is people who are out on bail committing new criminal offenses. Then that magistrate can see that and can try to address that by the bail and the bail conditions that they impose on that person.
Several improvements to the system are still on the way, but Spiedland-Gonzalez says Bexar County has really embraced these reports. Welcome back to News 4 in depth as we focus on the recent officer-involved shootings. While no county deputies were involved in the latest events, Sheriff Javier Salazar tells us it's a reminder of the dangers for anyone in law enforcement.
This job's dangerous 24/7, and so we can never afford to get complacent. So we do constantly remind our deputies, wear your protective gear, wear your vest, don't cancel cover, always watch the hands when you're out on patrol, and don't take any chances with these folks. What you think may just be a routine arrest, routine traffic stop, there is no routine in this business. At least there should not be. Because once you start looking at things and calling them routine, that's when complacency sets in, and complacency absolutely kills.
And we've heard your concerns about violence against SAPD officers, and we did some checking to see how the department helps officers who are dealing with trauma. On average, police see 400 to 600 traumatic events in their career. That's nearly 100 times more likely than the average person. That's why SAPD offers psychological services, family assistance, and help from the department's wellness team as well.
By starting those conversations and going to them proactively, that in turn allows them to have a more comfort level with coming and talking to us as well.
The goal of the wellness team is to take a proactive approach to help officers heal from the mental trauma that could come with the job. Thanks for watching our News 4 In-Depth special as we ask tough questions to address accountability for the recent officer-involved shootings. If you'd like to rewatch this newscast, be sure to head to our website, news4sa.com. You can also find all of our in-depth shows on our YouTube channel. Just scan the code that you see right there on your screen or search News 4 San Antonio Podcasts on YouTube.